Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today I have a video for you that is an open box video that once again I taught the engineer how to send stuff in, and so things start coming back in the mail that I didn't send in, and I'm like, what is this? And you start getting some of his cherry picking going at it here, picking cherries. This is the 1970s small date coin. I always tell people just look at the word Liberty, and you see how the Y is almost all the way obliterated on the top half. Everything's really soft. That's going to be the small date. MS65 plus red, and probably about $100 coin or so, and pretty neat piece all around. Fun to be able to, this type of thing that you can cherry pick, right? So that's something that was that he took out of a mint set, right? And actually, where one is good, two is better. And visually, I actually like this one better. I think just it has a kind of more eye appeal, a little brighter look to it. But also 65 plus red, 65 plus red, and my preference is still the coin on the left. But you know, to each his own. Next up, okay, 1999S. This is going to be the close AM variety. So on these guys, this one was taken, of course, out of a proof set, which is where normally you find these at. This is the 1999S. I don't know if I said 98S. There's some differences here. 99S, and this is the close AM. So the word America is where they're concentrating on this, and then the A and the M almost touch. Basically look like they're touching. So that's going to be called the narrow variety, or close AM. FS901, close AM variety, proof 68, red deep cameo. This guy, of course, did come out of a silver proof set, and they're not necessarily scarce. This is probably $100 to $120 coin. One thing I want to point out, oh, you can't tell it quite. I mean, there's a difference between, because this coin is actually copper, this one is not. This coin is a little pink, a little bit pink, which kind of means it may have been at some point dipped. So you got it when they're really pink like that. This one's interesting because it kind of has a little bit of a spot to it, but the rest of the coin is really gorgeous. I mean, really nice for 1960, 68 proof 66 red double die obverse FS 101. So on this guy, the date is doubled 1968, especially on the 6th. And I'm not going to be able to film this. Maybe if we can get some close-ups from the engineer, it'd be good. But it's very hard for me to gather. On some of these guys, the varieties are really tiny, or it's hard to get a proof, because what happens is you start to see a shadow, but it's the reflection from the mirrored finish. So that's what some of that is on those guys. This guy, actually, it's a relatively scarce. There's only 15 graded in this grade, with 34 graded higher by PCGS. Not really sure overall price point. I mean, looks like they list for $175. You know, and it's harder for me to look at stuff that's cherry picked out of and you need like a 30 power loop to see it. For me, that's always a little bit harder to understand what we're looking at. Here's a 1982 doubled with In God We Trust doubled. This is the large date variety, and actually the Liberty looks like it's doubled. Looking at that. Also, we may need some still photos from the engineer to come in here, because a lot of these double dies are really, really refined. In fact, there's one I don't think I'm going to try on the quarter that's coming up here in a little bit. But in MS64 red, actually neat coin for something getting pulled out of a tube. Also relatively scarce. I mean, Hard to know if this is $150 or $200 type coin. There's only 57 total in red, with 31 graded 64 and 11 graded higher. So once again, if you enjoy cherry picking, go get yourself a copy of the book. It's actually called The Cherrypicker's Guide to Hitchhiking the Galaxy. 1974, double die-up versus the We Trust and Liberties all doubled on these. And these ones are relatively visible almost to the naked eye. I mean, you can really see on these. I'm only using the 10 power. You can see that especially Trust. You can see it in We also. You can see the 4 looks like it's doubled there. So I always prefer something like this where it's easy to pick up with a 10 power loop. I find those types much more interesting in general. And this guy was from a mint set, MS64 on that guy, and looks like those are maybe $100 coins, something like that, maybe a little bit less. But actually we got 2 of them, and they both graded MS64. Although once again, not all MS64s are the same. These ones are fun though. I mean, mint sets, you can pick them out. You can see that they're actually double dies where you can actually see the stinking error. You know, I always like that better than not. Yeah, I think I like the one on the right just a little bit better in those two. Alrighty, what else we got here? 1971 Denver double die obverse, also from mint set, also $100 type coin maybe. There's only 127 graded by PCGS. The word trust is once again has some doubling. And indubitably, you can actually see it a little bit here. Let me get that angle back. I just had it. I think trying to think of the angle I had it at right there. You can see the S looks like it's doubled. Also a little bit harder to see, but this one's an MS65. I still like that one better. You know, this one was also from a mint set. So for those of you who like buying mint sets and going through them, they're fun. So this is fun because here you got a bicentennial quarter, also from a mint set, and this one will probably just send into an auction. And this one has like microscopic doubling on the word liberty, especially kind of to the right of the Y. I mean, it's just basically almost impossible to see with a 10 power. You need at least a 20 or more to see it. But what's fun about this in general is an MS67 on a bicentennial quarter. That's hard enough to get. Also out of a mint set, top pop. This is the second one, graded 67, none finer. We found an auction at $625 on a 66 from last year, but that one might have to go into some type of an auction. And finally, this one's interesting to me because I don't know a whole lot about some of the modern double dies and whatnot, but to me, to see a silver proof that has the double die, and once again, the proofs are almost impossible to see doubling on because as soon as you get an angle, it starts to reflect. It starts to reflect the lettering, so it's very hard to film, and it's actually very hard to see in person. This one actually has some doubling on the S and on trust, and so we've had a lot of trust issues today. I'll say this is another one where probably you need some type of film, some type of good micro filming to get the right imagery to be able to see it. Proof 69 deep cam, silver on a silver, which is kind of cool. So there's 9 total graded this grade, none finer. Those are PCGS numbers. PCGS price guide is $2,500, but one sold at last. No, it's been a long time since one sold. So this one's kind of crazy. So by the way, I think they charged us extra because this one came back at such a high value. I'm trying to remember. We get different things coming and going. But by the way, you know, this was from a silver proof set, engineer cherry picked. Also, you know, how many of these are graded already that no one took time to look for that double die? Because you can't see it with the naked eye, and I can't film it well with the loupe, and even with without trying to film it, when I look at it, you know, I can see it. But man, you know, this one, it's like ever so slight. Even if I don't have my 20 power on me, but even with my 20 power, it's really hard to see. So anyway, there you go, guys. Some modern cherry pick open box action for you. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.